One moment, Detroit was leading Atlanta in a preseason game. The next, the field was silent, players from both teams kneeling in the same huddle. The NFL stopped the game, not for weather, not for rules, but for one injured player. In this video, we're breaking down the medical, coaching, and league-level calls that led to that decision, and why it mattered to sponsors, team management, and player careers. Why would a league built on competition take this rare step in a preseason matchup? Was that the right call? Let me know in the comments. It began as just another preseason snap. The Lions set their defense, the Falcons lined up on offense, and the stadium buzzed with a low hum of August football. On a straightforward run up the middle, rookie running back Nathan Carter broke past the line, and then safety Maurice Norris met him at full speed. Norris lowered his shoulder, Carter's helmet caught the impact, and his head snapped back. Carter popped to his feet and trotted to his huddle. Norris did not get up. At first, it looked like the kind of collision that happens dozens of times a game. But when Norris stayed motionless, teammates slowed and glanced over. Coaches stepped onto the field. Trainers sprinted from the sideline. In seconds, the energy in the stadium shifted. Something was wrong. The noise drained away. Inside Mercedes-Benz Stadium, you could hear helmet clasps released, radios crackling. Players who had been calling out defensive signals dropped to one knee or joined hands. The crowd went so still that shouts from the medical staff carried into the lower stands. Trainers and doctors formed a circle around Norris, blocking views from the field and the crowd. He was attended to for about 20 minutes on the field, a duration which reporters and players described as signaling a very serious injury and prompting the decision to halt the game. Staff moved deliberately, checking neurological responses, stabilizing his head and neck, and coordinating with paramedics. Reporters and players treated the extended on-field response as a sign that medical staff were taking no chances. During that time, both teams gathered around, creating a wall of bodies. The rivalry paused. There was only concern for the player on the turf. When an ambulance drove onto the field and stopped at midfield, the atmosphere turned heavier still. Norris was carefully lifted onto a stretcher, strapped down, and loaded inside. Official updates soon reached the press box and fans. He was conscious, responsive, and had movement in all extremities. He was in stable condition as he left for a local hospital. Relief rippled through the stadium, but the intensity of the last 20 minutes still hung in the air. Even before Norris was wheeled off, the course of the night had shifted. The discussions among sideline staff and officials were already underway, leading to the unprecedented choice to call off a preseason game in progress. That moment set the stage for the critical and rarely seen process of how such a decision travels from the turf to the league's highest authority. How does a quick word on the sideline turn into an official league message that halts an NFL game? It's not a single whistle call, it's a rapid, coordinated chain of action that starts at field level and extends to the NFL's operations center in New York. First, the medical team makes an immediate assessment. Can play safely continue around an injured player, or does the field need to be cleared? That update moves to the head coach, who then passes it to the referee. From there, the on-site officiating staff reported the situation, and the official announcement that the game was suspended came per New York, reflecting communication with league operations. At the same time, another track of conversation begins. League staff assess the impact in real time, the game itself, scheduled broadcast windows, the stadium audience, and each team's preseason rotation plans for player evaluations. Even without regular season stakes, preseason games carry value for scouts, corporate partners, and networks with fixed programming slots. Every minute shaved from game time not only changes player reps, but also how sponsorship assets and television ads are delivered. The urgency of the medical situation gets weighed alongside these commercial considerations. Here, Detroit's Dan Campbell and Atlanta's Raheem Morris didn't need persuading. They spoke directly and agreed the game shouldn't continue. Both said afterward it simply didn't feel right to finish out of respect for Norris and his family. That alignment between both sidelines made it easier for the league to support the suspension, but it was still a rare and meaningful move. Halting a preseason game has real commercial costs, lost game time, reduced sponsor activations, and unfulfilled ad inventory, and those factors are always part of the conversation in New York. Similar decisions have happened before in the NFL. In 2023, 2 preseason games, one after Patriots cornerback Isaiah Bolden was carted off, another involving Dolphins receiver David Davis were stopped, and both players were later released from hospitals. And in the highly visible case of Bills safety Damar Hamlin's cardiac arrest during a regular season game, the league triggered unprecedented crisis protocols and faced immediate public scrutiny prompting a broader re-examination of on-field emergency preparedness. These moments shape both policy and perception. Perception is never secondary. Fans see these calls, but so do corporate sponsors, who associate their brands with the league's values. Continuing play under the wrong circumstances risks appearing indifferent, while a suspension can project responsibility and care. Internally, stopping this game was framed as the right call for the league brand, aimed at preserving trust on every front: player, fan, and sponsor. But that explanation still leaves one key question: how does this choice map back to the NFL's strategy around player welfare and brand risk? We'll unpack that next. The NFL has learned that prioritizing safety can strengthen its position both on the field and in the boardroom. While player protection is rooted in ethics, today it also intersects with brand value, sponsor trust, and long-term league growth. The league reported a record low of 44 preseason concussions in 2024, a 24% drop from last year, and found a nearly 50% reduction in concussions among players wearing mandated Guardian caps in certain sessions. Football will always involve high-speed collisions, but the league has targeted how those impacts happen and how they're managed. Equipment innovations like Guardian caps, which league data links to that near 50% concussion reduction in required practice sessions, and engineering improvements in helmet construction are part of the shift. Rule changes like the new dynamic kickoff have also been notable, with league reports showing roughly a 32% drop in the injury rate on returns. These measures don't erase the risk, but they visibly demonstrate that the NFL is investing in measurable safety outcomes. For the business side, that matters. Sponsors evaluate reputation as much as reach. A league that tracks well on safety signals accountability, lowers the risk of negative headlines, and appeals to fans who see their favorite teams protecting athletes. Comparative research assessing league policies finds that NFL's health policy framework compares favorably with many other major leagues in certain areas, a point the league can use in negotiations with partners and insurers. A Harvard study has also ranked the NFL high in documented concussion management and return-to-play protocols compared with other pro sports. These benchmarks become assets in corporate talks, especially when public scrutiny is high. Financial protections from disability plans to differences in guaranteed pay are part of the broader safety conversation. Studies comparing leagues note the NFL's approach differs from other pro leagues on guaranteed compensation and benefits. While these aren't directly tied to injuries on game day, they shape player confidence and willingness to compete, which in turn impacts roster stability and performance. During the Morris Norris incident, the league's rapid, coordinated, and transparent actions reinforced an image of operational control during crisis. Information flowed quickly to broadcasters and fans, avoiding misinformation and showing that the league could manage a high-stakes emergency without losing composure. For sponsors, that's not just reassuring, it reduces brand risk. When the league demonstrates fast, transparent emergency response, it reduces brand risk for sponsors and offers a negotiating advantage. But this is a reputational play rather than a guaranteed revenue multiplier. For sports business professionals, this incident signals where to focus: crisis communications, sponsor risk reviews, and the insurance and disability structures that underpin sponsorship and roster valuation. And in a moment like this, the decision to stop play becomes more than a health call. It becomes a statement about the kind of league the NFL wants to be seen as. This wasn't just the end of a preseason game. It was the NFL making a visible choice when business interests and the well-being of a player collided. Moments like this can accelerate policy shifts and change expectations, but the direction depends on how leagues, teams, and sponsors respond over time. This was also a public signal that player welfare and brand protection can be the same strategy. For sports business pros, that means rethinking contracts, insurance, and sponsor activation around how teams manage risk. What would you do as a team executive? Press on or call the game? Tell us in the comments. If you follow sports business decisions and want breakdowns like this, subscribe and hit the bell. And if you work in sports operations, sponsorship, or insurance, drop a one-sentence take on how this incident changes what you prioritize this season.